Avoiding your triggers is just not how you heal. As annoying and uncomfortable as it is, it's like we have to go through our triggers. We have to feel them and release them in order to move forward. And what I've been pondering this morning with my coffee as I'm getting ready to leave this part of France with my mom, a lot was coming up in my dreams last night, especially. Like, we're around a lot of family, friends, and people that have just, like I talked about yesterday, just knew me from like 10 years ago or more. And there's just like a lot involved in our dynamics. And it's like so beautiful to be here in France together and spending this time. But that also brings up a lot in my mind that has been kind of sleeping, And so last night I was having all these wild dreams that brought up emotions and feelings that were relevant to probably how I was feeling 10 years ago and how that version of me was resonating. And she was going through a very hard time, right? And so sometimes it's hard, like when we're doing the inner work and we're like journaling and doing all these things, to even know what our triggers are. And so when they come up, we're like, wow, maybe it's this person, this situation, this thing, and like maybe I should just like get back into my routine and meditation and walking and blah, blah, blah. But it's like real freedom and our highest, most optimal self aligned with like our highest abundance, love, health, joy is on the other side of all the things that are resonating with us, right? That are not resolved or acknowledged. We have to fix our field. And so I've been thinking a lot about the field and like what Joe Dispenza talks about. There's Arlo. He never goes upstairs. I think he just wanted to be in the video. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about the field, right? Our field is like the energy around us, and what's in it is what creates matter. And so there was a study that was done on women with a certain kind of cancer. It was maybe cervical, I don't remember the kind, but they were able to do a reader on their field and found that each one of them had the same frequency, kind of whatever it was that they found within their field, that then led to, or was also in common with them having that cancer. And the ones that had it in their field but didn't have the cancer did end up developing it later. And so when I've done this before, or I've heard people do this before, like, no, I'm just like not gonna like talk to them anymore, or not gonna like do that thing anymore, or I'm just gonna avoid that. I'm like, well, and this is like probably not new information to you, but you gotta go in and resolve all that stuff within yourself. You have to heal that inner part of yourself. You have to forgive everyone if you want to truly heal. So forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is talked about in the Law of One, and it says that it is the way to end karma. So forgiveness ends karma. And so I used to always think like, okay, I get it. I get the information, but how do we actually forgive? How do we actually forgive and get past things? Because I'm like, I know I want to forgive, but then I was still resonating at some, resentment. And so what I then learned more recently, or became more aware of, is that there's nothing really to forgive in other people when you start realizing the truth of who you are. Because when you start realizing the truth of who you are, you realize the truth of who we all are. And you start to see that they are the same one infinite consciousness as you. And that what's happening here on earth is we are, getting to experience the dark to remember the light, remember who we are. And so the unconscious that's operating in other people is an opportunity for you to, see where you're resonating at things that are other than your truth. And so in my dreams last night, I was like, all these things are such crazy manifestations to bring up certain feelings that were resonating within me. So That could happen in real life. It could happen in your dreams, right? And so then I was like, well, I don't want to create that in my real life. And it's much easier for our subconscious and our soul to create scenarios within our dreams that mimic, what's going on in our frequency, in our field. Because in this real world perceived reality, it's like we also then have our mind choosing, and so that kind of slows down how we can like jump through the infinite timelines within our dreams. And so dreams are really such a great space to look at what's going on, to look at the underlying feeling. And so then as soon as I woke up, because it was like so fresh in my mind, and it was such an opportunity that just being around these people who knew me at that time of my life, or who knew me at that time of my life, it brought that up. So I was like, oh, this is great. Like, this is a new layer that I probably wouldn't have even like discovered on my own or knew was still alive. And so then I went into EFT tapping and did many, many rounds until like the feeling of recalling the dream was alchemized and wasn't feeling like something anymore. It was just like a memory, like, oh, weird dream, weird dreams. But it wasn't like weird dreams and like, oh, like I woke up feeling like guilty and like ashamed. And I was like, wow, like it's so real. It doesn't matter, if it's made up. It doesn't matter if it's a dream. Like when you are picturing a lemon and you're picturing eating a lemon, you're imagining eating a lemon, you are actually having a physical reaction, right? And so it really does matter, like what we are feeling vibrationally, what we are feeling, like we have to make sure that we are taking responsibility for it, and no one else can do it. And so being around family, especially, like, it's so beautiful, but it can bring up a lot, but I don't think that it has to be avoided depending on your circumstances. But it doesn't have to be avoided, of course. Like, I think it's beautiful if you can enjoy people in your family and accept that you're just different, but that you also have a special bond that nobody else will ever be able to give you in this lifetime. And so then I think it's also very important to have different categories of people in your life, right? So we have our family who knows us and all that, knows our whole lifetime up until this point. Maybe they don't really know you at this point in your life, but that's okay. Maybe they get to know you, but you have to accept who you are and stand in that strongly, to kind of rewire that for them too. Like we were talking about yesterday, it's kind of hard for people to like reassociate who you are now if they haven't seen you for some time, or if you've changed a lot. It can be really uncomfortable for them because, like, in a way they have to kind of grieve losing who you once were. And so you can have compassion but also not take responsibility for anybody else's feelings but your own. But it's, I think, really important to have categories of friends and people in your life. So like one of my friends, her family is super Christian and she was raised Christian, but she's like exploring other things. She was exploring psychedelic therapy. She was exploring yoga, exploring, digital nomad life, and like just things that didn't agree with that thought process of her family. Because her family is like, you need to find a husband, start having kids, keep your good job, don't do anything crazy. Yoga is posing for the devil or whatever. Psychedelic therapy. Psychedelic therapy is so interesting because in the Bible, apparently it says, do not alter your mind. But a lot of the Christians I know drink so much and alter their minds so much to like blacking out from wine and other alcohols. And so I'm like, that's altering your mind too. And maybe I'm missing something in that part of the Bible, but psychedelic therapy is unlike anything else. It's like you can't even really prepare for it. And my friend who tried it, like it was a big shock to her, and a shock to her because then she had, all that fear coming up from what her family had told her. So like while she's in it and resisting what was coming up for her to learn and work through, because when you set an intention before a ceremony or anything in life, you often will get that experience, and you will go as deep as you need to go, and also as you set the intention. And so she went to some deep, deep, dark places that were really made so much sense, because I was her guide and I agreed to do it, even though I had not, qualified, but I had an experience previously to that I was guided. And so I was like, yeah, I'll be there for you in the best way that I can be. But she, had her darkest things coming up. And then also was having the stuff that was programmed within her, like that she was, bad, and like that she had, abandoned or disobeyed Jesus or whatever it was. And so she's praying to Jesus the whole time. And so like that was another thing. It's like in its own way, all that was coming up and triggering her in her opportunity to set herself free. Like to know, like, no, you're not going to go to hell for this. Like, you chose this for the purpose of healing and being your happiest, healthiest self. And you did all your research, but it's like that programming was so within her, like to not go down other routes, that it was like, it was really interesting to witness her working through it and how it can manifest in a way like that. And so then she set herself free, and when she just relaxed into her experience, it was like then she got to like get so much clarity on what was still living in her, the fears that she still had, the patterns that she still had. Like there was so much more other than just like the stuff about religion that came up. And so when you can just relax and look at it and accept it, right? It's like not even about forgiveness, it's about acceptance. When you accept and love all parts of you and all parts of other people, then you're in your truth. The truth of who we all are, what I know to be true, is that we are love and acceptance. Like that is like the highest frequency. We are love, acceptance, gratitude, like infinite abundance. We are just like this expansiveness. And when we can invite all parts of ourselves in this world into that, then we alchemize it and we set it free and we get to move through it. So yeah, that's interesting how that all came out. I wasn't sure exactly what I would talk about today, because I missed a few days. I personally missed being here and connecting with you guys. But yeah, what I shared yesterday, it was just really hard to do it because so much was coming up that I didn't expect to come up from having family here. I think you guys were saying the full moon, because I was like, something has been happening energetically, I think within the stars the past few days, because I was just like, I was really just surviving. It felt like I was like moving through such heaviness. And now I feel like I'm on the other side, and I'm super excited to go on this road trip to the south of France today. I've got so much work done on the van. I'll show you guys a tour in a little bit, maybe tomorrow or one of the next videos this week. But yeah, the van is looking great. And that feeling when you've just like gone through so much and you feel like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's like I was in one of those seasons this week, and it's like no one would ever know that, because there was nothing that was like obviously happening here. Like we've had a great time together, but internally I'm like, and it just woke up a lot of stuff, and it was all great. And now we're coming out of it a brand new woman, a more aligned woman. So I hope that some of this resonated. If you have anything to add or share, please leave a comment below. Like this video if you can, because it really helps this channel. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you're new here. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. And I will be on my way to south of France. I don't think we'll be in the south of France yet. So thank you for being here. See you soon. Bye.